The holographic projections flickered to life in the observation deck of the massive dreadnought Eternal Dominion, casting pale blue light across the assembled representatives of the Galactic Council. Admiral Cora of the Vexen Empire adjusted. Her ceremonial armor, the crystalline plates catching the artificial light as she surveyed the primitive world spinning lazily below. "Behold, the third planet of the Sol system," announced Chancellor Brix, his forearms gesturing dramatically toward the blue-green marble. "Home to the species that dares call itself humanity." A ripple of what passed for laughter among the assembled aliens filled the chamber. The Thurian delegates' chittering mixed with the low rumbles of the Korthak representatives, while the energy beings from the Zephyr Collective pulsed with amused colors. "Their defenses are quaint," observed Commander Thex, manipulating a three-dimensional tactical display with practiced ease. "Chemical rockets, primitive nuclear weapons, and what they call aircraft carriers. How delightfully archaic." Admiral Cora remained silent, studying the tactical readouts with professional interest. The humans had indeed constructed an impressive array of weapons for their technological level, but against the combined might of 7 galactic civilizations, they were less than insects facing a hurricane. The ultimatum was delivered 72 hours ago, Chancellor Brix continued, his voice carrying the authority of millennia of galactic dominance. "Surrender their pathetic military assets, accept protectorate status, and serve the greater galactic community." Simple terms for a simple species. The communication array crackled to life, and a human face appeared on the main screen. Commander Jake Rivers of the United Earth Defense Force stood in what appeared to be a military command center, his jaw set with unmistakable determination. Behind him, other humans moved with purposeful urgency, their primitive computers and displays creating a backdrop of controlled chaos. "This is Commander Rivers responding to your ... Generous offer," Jake said, his voice carrying across the void. "Between worlds. We've given your ultimatum the consideration it deserves. Every great journey starts with a few brave explorers. Sci-fi stellar conflict is just beginning, and your support means everything. If you're hungry for HFY battles and tales of human valor against alien might, hit subscribe. It's free, and it helps us bring these front lines to you." And Chancellor Brix leaned forward, anticipating the expected capitulation. Jake's smile was sharp as a blade. "Our answer is simple. Come and take them." The transmission cut, leaving the council chamber in stunned silence. Then the laughter began, harsh, dismissive sounds that echoed through the vast ship. "Magnificent," wheezed Chancellor Brix. "They choose extinction over wisdom. How perfectly human." Admiral Cora watched the data streams flowing across her personal display, noting the sudden spike in electromagnetic activity across Earth's surface. Military installations worldwide had gone to full alert, while civilian populations initiated evacuation procedures with remarkable efficiency. The humans were preparing for war with the methodical precision of a species that had spent its entire evolutionary history perfecting the art of killing. "Perhaps we should reconsider," she said quietly. "Any species that survived their homeworlds' conditions deserves respect." Commander Thex's laugh was like grinding metal. "Respect for these primitives? Cora, your caution serves you well in most circumstances, but this is beneath even our smallest concern. Watch." He activated the forward observation screens, revealing the approaching fleet in all its terrible glory. Hundreds of ships, each one capable of glassing continents, moved in perfect formation toward the small blue world. Their weapons could crack planets, their shields could withstand the fury of dying stars, and their technology represented the pinnacle of galactic achievement. "Begin the demonstration," Chancellor Brix commanded. "Let them see what defying the galaxy costs." The lead ships opened fire, lances of coherent energy reaching across space to strike Earth's orbital defense platforms. The explosions bloomed like deadly flowers, metal and flame expanding in perfect silence against the star field. Within minutes, humanity's most advanced defensive installations were reduced to glowing debris. "Now they understand," Thex said with satisfaction. "Surely they'll surrender before we're forced to engage their surface installations." But the response from Earth wasn't surrender. Instead, every human military installation on the planet began broadcasting on all frequencies not pleas for mercy, but defiant war songs, ancient battle hymns, and messages of determination that carried the weight of 10,000 years of human conflict. Admiral Cora felt something cold settle in her chest as she listened to the transmissions. The humans weren't backing down. If anything, their resolve seemed to strengthen with each passing moment, as if the destruction of their orbital defenses had only confirmed their expectations. "They're not going to surrender," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Chancellor Brix waved dismissively. "Then they'll die with their world. Begin the invasion." The first wave descended from the stars like divine judgment, their sleek hulls gleaming against Earth's blue sky. Admiral Cora observed from the command deck of her personal cruiser the silent thunder as her Vexen shock troops prepared for what should have been a routine subjugation. "Orbital bombardment complete," reported her tactical officer. "Human satellite networks destroyed, communication arrays disrupted, major military installations neutralized." Through the tactical displays, Cora watched the invasion unfold across 6 continents simultaneously. Thousands of dropships pierced Earth's atmosphere, their energy shields deflecting the desperate fire from human air defense systems. The primitive missiles and projectile weapons sparked harmlessly against advanced deflector technology. "Surface resistance is minimal," Commander Vex's voice crackled over the communication array from his flagship. "Their ground forces are retreating from population centers as expected. Cowards." But Admiral Cora wasn't convinced. The tactical readouts showed something that troubled her. The human retreat was too organized, too coordinated for a species facing extinction. Their military units fell back in good order, maintaining communication discipline despite their shattered networks, rallying at predetermined points with mathematical precision. "Sir," her communications officer interrupted, "we're receiving scattered reports from the landing zones." "Proceed," Cora commanded, though she dreaded what she might hear. "The humans aren't fighting where we expected. They've abandoned their cities, dispersed into the countryside. Our troops are encountering unusual resistance." On the main screen, combat footage from the surface painted a chaotic picture. Vexen shock troops, each one genetically enhanced and equipped with armor that could withstand starship-grade weapons, advanced through empty human settlements. But the emptiness itself seemed hostile. "There." A Vexen warrior's voice came through the feed as he pointed at a seemingly innocent structure. Motion detected in that dwelling. The building exploded with devastating force, sending alien bodies flying through the air. But no human attackers were visible, only empty streets and silent structures that had become deadly traps. Commander Jake Rivers appeared on every functional screen across the planet simultaneously, his image somehow penetrating even the aliens' encrypted communications. He stood in what looked like an underground bunker, surrounded by humans working at primitive but functional equipment. "Welcome to Earth," Jake said, his voice carrying an edge that made seasoned warriors shift uncomfortably. "You wanted to see what humanity is capable of. Let us show you." The coordinated attacks began within minutes. Across the globe, human forces emerged from hidden positions, striking at alien supply lines with weapons that shouldn't have been effective. But they weren't using their original armaments. They were using captured alien technology, reverse-engineered, with impossible speed and employed in ways their creators never intended. "How are they adapting so quickly?" demanded Chancellor Brix over the fleet-wide communication channel. "Their technology is centuries behind ours." Admiral Cora studied the tactical data flowing across her screens. The humans were taking terrible losses, thousands dying for every alien casualty, but they never stopped learning. Each engagement taught them something new about their enemy's weapons, armor, and tactics. More disturbing still, they seemed to share this knowledge instantly across their entire resistance network. "They're not trying to win through superior firepower," she realized aloud. "They're treating this as a learning exercise." A new report arrived from the surface, this one from the Thurian ground commander. His chittering voice carried notes of confusion and growing concern. "The humans have withdrawn from direct engagement," he reported. "Instead, they're targeting our supply convoys, disrupting our communication networks, and, Admiral, they're doing something to our equipment." Our scanners are malfunctioning. Our weapons are developing mysterious faults. And our vehicles are breaking down at an alarming rate. Through the tactical displays, a pattern began to emerge. The humans weren't trying to destroy the alien forces through conventional warfare. Instead, they were systematically degrading their technological advantages, forcing the invaders to fight on increasingly equal terms. "It's sabotage," whispered Korra's tactical officer. "They're not just fighting us, they're learning to fight. Like us while teaching us to fight like them." On Earth's surface, human resistance cells struck with surgical precision. They didn't waste time on hopeless frontal assaults. Instead, they targeted power sources, communication relays, and logistics. Networks. Every alien weapon they captured was immediately studied, copied, and improved upon with modifications that turned advanced technology into unpredictable, dangerous tools. Commander Jake's voice cut through the chaos again, broadcasting on frequencies that shouldn't have been accessible to human technology. "You came here expecting us to fight your kind of war," he said, standing now in what appeared to be a captured alien facility. "But we've been fighting wars since before you learned to use tools. We've conquered our own world 1,000 times over, and every victory taught us something new about ourselves." The image shifted to show human technicians working alongside captured alien equipment, their hands moving with the confident precision of a species that had spent millennia adapting other species' discoveries to their own purposes. "You have better weapons," Jake continued. "You have stronger armor, faster ships, and more advanced technology. But you've never fought an enemy that learns from every bullet fired, every death suffered, every small victory earned through blood and determination." Admiral Korra felt a chill run down her spine as she watched the reports continue to stream in. The invasion was stalling, not because the humans were winning, but because they were refusing to lose in any way the aliens could understand or counter. 3 weeks into the invasion, Admiral Korra stood before a tactical display that showed something unprecedented in galactic military history, an advanced civilization being systematically taught warfare by a primitive one. The situation reports are inconsistent, her intelligence officer reported, his voice carrying the confusion of a professional warrior facing something beyond his experience. Human resistance isn't following any recognized patterns. Across the holographic representation of Earth, red indicators marked alien positions, while blue dots showed confirmed human activity. But the pattern made no conventional sense. The humans weren't trying to hold territory or protect strategic assets. Instead, they moved like water, flowing around obstacles, finding weaknesses, and applying pressure in ways that turned strength into liability. "Show me the electromagnetic warfare data," Korra commanded. The display shifted, revealing the invisible battle raging through Earth's electromagnetic spectrum. Human forces had somehow learned to weaponize their planet's own magnetic field, creating interference patterns that turned advanced alien sensors into sources of false information. Worse still, they were broadcasting coordinated signals that seemed designed to trigger malfunctions in specific alien technologies. "Admiral," her communications officer interrupted, "we're receiving a priority transmission from Ground Commander Vex." The hologram materialized, showing the once confident alien warrior in his command bunker. His armor was scorched, his voice carried notes of barely controlled frustration, and his eyes held something Admiral Korra had never seen there before doubt. "These humans are not fighting a war," Vex reported, his words clipped and precise. "They're conducting some sort of odd experiment. Every engagement teaches them something new, and they're applying those lessons faster than we can adapt to their adaptations." Korra leaned forward. "Explain." "Yesterday, a human squad attacked one of our supply convoys using our own energy weapons modified with human technology to triple their effective range. Today, different human units across 6 continents simultaneously employed identical modifications. They're sharing technical knowledge in real time across their entire resistance network." The tactical display updated to show the latest engagement reports. Human forces were no longer simply stealing alien technology, they were improving it, combining it with their own innovations in ways that created entirely new categories of weapons. "They've taken our plasma rifles and somehow made them work with their chemical explosives," Vex continued. The result is a weapon that behaves like neither technology, but incorporates the advantages of both. Our armor was designed to resist plasma or kinetic impacts, not hybrid weapons that deliver both simultaneously. Commander Jake's voice suddenly filled the command center, his transmission somehow penetrating their most secure communication channels. "Greetings, Admiral Cora of the Vexen Empire," he said, and ice formed in her veins as she realized he was addressing her personally. "We've been studying your tactical patterns for 3 weeks now. Very impressive work, textbook galactic warfare at its finest." The transmission included targeting data that showed precise knowledge of her ship's location, armament, and defensive capabilities. Information that should have been impossible for humans to obtain. "You're wondering how we know so much about your fleet," Jake continued, his image now showing him standing in what was clearly a captured alien command center. "The answer is simple: you've been teaching us. Every scan you take of our planet, every communication you send, every weapon you fire gives us a little more information about how your technology works." Behind Jake, human technicians worked alongside banks of alien computers, their movements suggesting a familiarity that should have taken years to develop. "We've been listening to your communications, studying your equipment, and learning your languages," Jake explained. "But more importantly, we've been learning how you think. Your tactical doctrines, your strategic assumptions, your technological limitations." Admiral Cora felt her blood run cold as the implications became clear. The humans hadn't been trying to win a conventional war. They'd been conducting the most comprehensive, intelligence-gathering operation in galactic history. "Every battle you've won has taught us something new," Jake continued. "How your shields work, how your weapons aim, how your armor distributes impacts. We've been reverse engineering not just your technology, but your entire military philosophy." The tactical display around Cora suddenly flickered, alien symbols replacing the familiar Vexen interface. For a moment, her own ship's systems displayed information in human script before returning to normal. "As you can see," Jake said, with a smile that belonged on the face of an apex predator, "we're fast learners. The question now is, are you ready for the final examination?" The transmission ended, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Admiral Cora stared at her tactical displays, suddenly seeing them through human eyes as sources of information rather than tools of control. "Sir," her weapons officer spoke carefully, "if they've been studying our technology for 3 weeks, then they know everything about our capabilities," Cora finished grimly. "Our weapons, our defenses, our tactics, they've turned our own superiority into their greatest advantage." New alerts began flashing across the tactical display. Across Earth's surface, human forces were moving with sudden coordination, emerging from hiding places that sensors hadn't detected, carrying weapons that registered as simultaneously familiar and impossible. "Admiral," her communications officer said, his voice tight with controlled panic, "we're detecting massive electromagnetic activity across the human resistance network. Whatever they're planning, it's beginning now." Through the observation ports, Admiral Cora could see Earth spinning below, its surface now glowing with the light of 1,000 small battles. But the pattern of those lights wasn't random. It formed a precise geometric arrangement that spoke of coordination, planning, and a level of strategic thinking that belonged to species with millennia of galactic warfare experience. The humans had been learning. Now it was time for their graduation exercise. The human counteroffensive began at exactly midnight, Greenwich Mean Time, with a coordinated electromagnetic pulse that painted Earth's night side in sheets of artificial aurora. Admiral Cora watched from her command deck as every alien installation on the planet's surface went dark simultaneously. "Full sensor sweep," she commanded, her voice tight with controlled urgency. "I want to know what they just did to us." The tactical displays flickered back to life, showing a planet transformed. Where once scattered human resistance cells had hidden in the shadows, now organized military formations moved with the precision of veteran galactic forces. But they weren't using captured alien technology anymore. They were using something entirely new. "Admiral," her sensor officer reported, his voice carrying notes of disbelief, "the humans have somehow weaponized their planet's magnetosphere. They're using Earth itself as a giant electromagnetic warfare platform. Commander Jake's image appeared on the main screen, but he wasn't broadcasting from a hidden bunker anymore. He stood on the bridge of what appeared to be a human spacecraft impossible, since their space program had been destroyed in the first hours of the invasion. "Surprise," Jake said simply. "Did you really think we'd show you everything in the first 3 weeks?" Behind him, Admiral Cora could see human officers working at stations that combined alien technology with innovations she couldn't begin to understand. The ship itself seemed to be constructed from materials that shifted between metallic solidity and translucent energy fields. "We've been busy while you were teaching us galactic warfare," Jake continued. "Mining our ocean floors for rare minerals, retrofitting our industrial base, and building something you've never seen before, a hybrid technology that combines the best of your science with uniquely human innovations." The tactical display exploded with new contacts as human ships materialized around Earth. Not the primitive chemical rockets the aliens had mocked, but vessels that moved with impossible grace, their hulls seeming to phase in and out of normal space. "Impossible," whispered Cora's tactical officer. "Those ships are using displacement technology we haven't perfected yet." Jake's smile was sharp with predatory satisfaction. "We're not bound by your assumptions about what's possible. While you were following your textbook invasion protocols, we were rewriting the laws of physics." The first human ship to reach orbital altitude wasn't the largest or most heavily armed, but it moved with a fluid precision that spoke of technology beyond conventional understanding. As Admiral Cora watched, it approached the alien fleet with what could only be described as casual confidence. "This is Commander Maya Stone of the Earth Defense Ship Defiance," came the transmission. "You have 30 seconds to surrender before we demonstrate why humans are the apex predators of Sol System." Chancellor Brix's voice crackled over the fleet communication system, filled with outraged authority. "Destroy them! Show these primitives the price of defying galactic law." The combined firepower of 7 civilizations lanced out toward the human ship, enough energy to vaporize a moon. But the beams passed through empty space as Defiance seemed to step sideways through dimensions, reappearing behind the alien formation with weapons already charging. What happened next redefined Admiral Cora's understanding of warfare. The human ship fired not energy weapons or kinetic projectiles, but something that seemed to attack the very concept of alien technology. Vexen shields flickered and died. Thurian armor plates simply stopped being armor, and Korthek weapon systems forgot how to function. It was as if the fundamental principles underlying galactic technology had suddenly become optional. "They're not just jamming our systems," Cora realized with growing horror. "They're convincing our equipment that it doesn't work." More human ships materialized throughout the fleet, each one employing weapons and tactics that violated everything the aliens thought they knew about physics, warfare, and the possible. But it wasn't random chaos. Every action served a larger strategy that became clear as the battle unfolded. The humans weren't trying to destroy the alien fleet. They were trying to capture it. "Boarding parties launching," Jake announced as his ship moved toward Admiral Cora's flagship. "We'd like to have a more detailed conversation about your technology, your strategies, and your home worlds." Cora felt her ship shudder as something attached to the hull, not with the crude violence of conventional boarding pods, but with the gentle precision of advanced docking systems. Through her internal sensors, she watched human soldiers moving through her ship's corridors, but they weren't fighting their way forward. Instead, they seemed to be having polite conversations with her crew, who were laying down their weapons and stepping aside with expressions of bewildered cooperation. "Admiral," her security chief reported, his voice hollow with disbelief, "the humans aren't attacking our people. They're recruiting them. Our soldiers are volunteering to help them understand our technology." The bridge doors slid open with a soft hiss, and Commander Jake walked onto Admiral Cora's command deck as if he owned it. He was accompanied by a small group of humans whose eyes held the fierce intelligence of a species that had just proven itself the equal of any force in the galaxy. "Admiral Cora," Jake said respectfully, offering what appeared to be a formal military salute. "Thank you for the education. We've learned more about galactic civilization in the past month than most species learn in centuries." Cora stared at him, her mind struggling to process what had just happened. How? Jake's smile was warm now, lacking the predatory edge it had. Carried during the battle. We're humans, Admiral. We've spent our entire evolutionary history learning to survive in a universe that wanted us dead. When you brought us a new challenge, we did what we always do. We adapted, we learned, and we overcame. Through the bridge windows, Admiral Cora could see the impossible sight of human and alien crews working together, sharing technology and knowledge with the casual efficiency of species that had been allies for generations. The war is over, Jake said gently. But the real adventure is just beginning. 6 months after the battle that galactic historians would call the Learning, Admiral Cora stood in the observation deck of her ship, now jointly crewed by humans and Vexans, watching Earth recede into the star field. The planet that had once seemed so primitive now bristled with hybrid technologies that represented the combined knowledge of 8 civilizations, working in unprecedented cooperation. Final systems check complete, reported Lieutenant Tom Harris, her new human tactical officer. His integration into the crew had been seamless, as if humans and Vexans had been designed to work together. All ships ready for jump to hyperspace. Beside him, her original Vexan crew worked with calm efficiency, their initial shock at human capabilities having evolved into something approaching reverence. The humans hadn't conquered them, they'd taught them new ways to think about conquest itself. Admiral, Commander Jake's voice came through the communication system from his flagship, the Defiance. We're receiving acknowledgement signals from all fleet elements. The joint expedition is ready to depart. Cora activated her personal display, showing the unprecedented fleet assembled around Earth. Ships from 7 different civilizations flew in perfect formation, with human vessels that still seemed to violate several fundamental laws of physics. But more importantly, every crew was now mixed aliens and humans working together with a synergy that military theorists had declared impossible. How did you do it? She asked Jake during their private communication channel. How did you turn an invasion into an alliance? Jake's image appeared on her screen, his expression thoughtful. We didn't turn anything into anything else, Admiral. We just showed everyone what was always possible when different species stop seeing each other as threats and start seeing each other as opportunities to learn. The tactical display updated to show their destination, the hegemony core worlds, where species that had refused to join the Galactic Council maintained their independence through superior technology and absolute isolation. For centuries, they had been considered unconquerable. The Council wants us to bring them into galactic civilization, Cora said, reviewing the mission parameters that had seemed impossible just months ago. They've resisted every diplomatic overture, destroyed every military expedition, and maintained their isolation for over 2,000 years. Then they haven't met humans yet, Jake replied with the casual confidence that still amazed her. We're not going there to conquer them or to force them into anything. We're going there to learn from them and to teach them what we've learned about cooperation. Through the observation ports, Cora could see human technicians working alongside alien engineers, their combined efforts producing technologies that neither species could have imagined alone. The humans had brought something to galactic civilization that had been missing for millennia, the willingness to see every interaction as a chance to grow stronger together rather than separately. Fleet Admiral Rivers, she said, using Jake's new title with respect she would never have imagined possible 6 months ago. Initiate jump sequence. Copy that, Admiral Cora. All ships, prepare for hyperspace transition. Next stop, the hegemony core. The stars stretched into lines of light as the combined fleet entered hyperspace, leaving behind a solar system that had become the most dynamic center of technological innovation in the galaxy. Earth's orbital platforms now hosted research stations where species from across the galaxy came to study the phenomenon that humans called collaborative evolution, the process of turning competition into cooperation, conflict into learning, and enemies into partners. In the months following first contact, human technology had advanced by centuries, while simultaneously accelerating the development of every species they encountered. But more importantly, they had introduced a new concept to galactic civilization, the idea that diversity of thought and approach made everyone stronger rather than weaker. Admiral, her communications officer reported, We're receiving long-range transmissions from the hegemony border worlds. They're curious about our approach." Cora smiled, an expression that had become more common since humans joined her crew. "Of course they are. They've probably never seen a fleet where half the ships were designed by species that were shooting at each other 6 months ago. The joint human-alien fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of hegemony space. Their arrival detected immediately by sensor networks that had guarded these worlds for 2 millennia. But instead of the expected demands for surrender or diplomatic overtures, the fleet broadcast something unprecedented: an invitation. This is the combined fleet of the Soul Alliance. Jake's voice carried across space to the hegemony worlds. "We're here not as conquerors or diplomats, but as students. We'd like to learn from you, and we'd like to share what we've learned about the strength that comes from diversity." The response came quickly, carried by technologies the fleet's sensors couldn't quite understand. "You speak of learning, but you arrive with weapons of war. We arrive with tools," Jake replied calmly. "What they become depends on how we choose to use them together. We've learned that the same technology that can destroy worlds can also build bridges between species that thought they had nothing in common." Admiral Cora watched the long-range sensors as hegemony ships began to emerge from hidden bases, their formation suggesting curiosity rather than hostility. After 2,000 years of isolation, they were finally willing to listen. "The galaxy laughed at our defenses," Jake said over the fleet-wide communication channel, his words reaching every human and alien crew member in the combined force. "They thought our weakness was our inability to match their individual strengths. But our real strength was never in matching them. It was in teaching them that strength multiplied by cooperation is greater than strength divided by competition." As the first hegemony ships approached for what would become known as the Meeting of 8 Worlds, Admiral Cora realized that humanity hadn't just survived their first contact with galactic civilization. They had fundamentally changed what galactic civilization could become. The galaxy had tried to teach humans their place in the cosmic order. Instead, humans had taught the galaxy that the cosmic order was just the beginning of what was possible when different minds worked toward common goals. The real adventure, as Jake had promised, was just beginning.